Video number 1, as you guys can see in the box. How good was prime Anthony Davis actually? A lot of you guys have been requesting this video.
AD.
Prime AD, we know about his injury situation. He's similar to an Embiid where he's just injured a lot and it's ruined his potential.
Yeah.
But let's see what he was like in his prime before we get into it, guys.
Make sure you smash the subscribe and follow button and hype up this video.
Let's check this out.
Anthony Davis was once the most unstoppable big man in basketball. He was the #1 pick in the draft, won a national championship at Kentucky, and by the time he was in his early 20s, he was already putting up numbers that only a few players in league history ever had. He made his first All-Star team at 20 years old. By 21, he was first-team All-NBA.
Wow.
He led the league in blocks multiple times, finished top 3 in MVP voting, and averaged nearly 30 points a game in one of the toughest eras for big men to score. Anthony Davis could...
We watched that video recently of #1 draft picks, if they were actually the best in their draft or not.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the only ones where they said he was a #1 pick and he was the best in that draft. There's others like Anthony Edwards. There's a couple, but it wasn't common.
There wasn't many.
Yeah, and he was one of the ones where they said, yeah, like...
Score at every level, protect the rim, switch onto guards, control the glass, and take over games without even needing the ball. For a few seasons, there were real arguments that the Brow was the most complete player in basketball.
The Brow? What the hell?
He's easily the best player on the court that night.
But despite all of that, AD's career has been complicated. And when exactly he was at his peak is hard to judge, because his best seasons didn't always come with wins. His biggest wins didn't always come with his best stats, and injuries kept interrupting his career right when he looked
Oh,
unstoppable.
bad.
I've never seen the knick-knack injuries to one player like this in my life.
In fact, Davis has had 51 unique injuries and 296 in total, including 55 foot injuries throughout his career. So when exactly was his prime? And how good was prime Anthony Davis actually?
That's a lot of injuries.
Most
for
dominant
anyone.
big men in basketball history were big their whole lives. Shaq was always huge. Tim Duncan was always a post player. Hakeem was always long and athletic. But Anthony Davis wasn't supposed to be a big man at all. He went to Perspectives Charter School in Chicago, a small math and science academy that barely had a basketball program. The team didn't even have its own gym. They practiced at a nearby church, played in the lower division of the Chicago Public League, and almost never had college scouts in the building. And Davis wasn't a center. As a freshman, he was
baby A. He looks so
almost never
cute.
had college scouts in the building. And Davis
Oh, wait, where did his eyebrows come from?
His eyebrow just hit a growth
What
spurt
the hell?
along with his height.
wasn't a center. As a freshman, he was about 6 feet tall and
Oh, he's
played
still
guard.
tall.
Then his body changed, almost overnight. Between his sophomore and senior year, Davis went from around 6 feet to nearly 6'10".
Wow.
But the part
Oh
that
my
made scouts
God.
lose their minds wasn't the height. It was that he kept the guard skills. Now you had a player with guard footwork, a 7+ foot wingspan, elite timing, and the ability to block shots without fouling. He could switch onto guards, run the floor like a wing, and still protect the rim like a center. And once he had
all-rounded.
started playing AAU with Mean Streets and went to national camps, Davis went from an unknown recruit to a 5-star prospect to the #1 player in the entire 2011 class within a year. By the time he committed to Kentucky, NBA scouts were already talking about him as a future #1 pick before he had played a single college game. And somehow, he still exceeded expectations. At Kentucky, Davis wasn't the leading scorer, but he controlled every game. As a freshman, he averaged 14.2 points,
Wow.
10.4 rebounds, 4.7 blocks per game, and shot over 62% from the field. He led the entire country in blocks, set the NCAA freshman record for blocked shots with 186, and at one point in the season, he was blocking more shots by himself than entire Division I teams.
I think I had
Damn,
172
that's
blocks.
wild.
And then the next person, it was a team. Like the next 5 were teams.
Kentucky went their
So he's a one-man army. Literally a one-man
He's
army.
basically rubbing it in,
Green space.
yeah, Green's face, like, yeah, this is what a proper defender does. Yeah? Not saying
3-2.
Green's not.
Finished the season ranked #1, went undefeated in SEC play, and had one of the most talented rosters in college basketball, with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Terrence Jones, Marcus Teague, and Doran Lamb, multiple future NBA players. And the most important player on the team was the freshman who didn't need the ball. In the Final Four against Louisville, Davis had 18 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks. In the national championship game against Kansas, he scored only 6 points, but finished with 16 rebounds, 6 blocks, 5 assists, and 3 steals, and was named Final Four Most Outstanding Player anyway. That performance summed up exactly what made Anthony Davis different.
I think people forget the dominance I had on the game of college basketball when I was there.
He didn't need 30 points to dominate. He didn't need the offense built around him. He could completely control the game with defense, length, timing, and versatility. And by the end of the season, there wasn't any debate about the 2012 draft. Anthony Davis was being called one of the best defensive prospects in years, one of the most unique big men scouts had ever seen, and the kind of player who could change any franchise the moment he entered the NBA. And it's not hard to see why. He was coming off one of the most dominant freshman seasons in college basketball history at Kentucky, where he won a national championship, Final Four Most Outstanding Player, National Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season.
I didn't know he was to that level.
Like, we knew he was amazing, but
not like this.
Yeah, we didn't even know he was #1 draft pick until like one of the videos said it. Like, it's not.
That's true. I didn't know.
How would we know though? Unless
I didn't know
someone
he was #1 pick.
tells us, you know.
Damn, AD.
Damn.
Me as much love like in a college basketball.
But this makes sense why they swapped him for Luka. They didn't do a shit trade. Like on paper, AD's the man.
The only thing is AD's injured, so it doesn't help at the same time.
He got it back.
But I fully understand. Well, I mean, I do and don't, because Luka was great as
killing
well.
it. But they just thought AD will come in and do that as well, you know?
Yeah.
As they should, given, everything that I've done in a 6 months, 6-7 month span.
So for New Orleans, the decision couldn't have been easier.
With the first pick in the 2012 NBA draft, the New Orleans Hornets select Anthony Davis.
Took him.
Aww.
At that time, the team was still the Hornets, and they were coming off a 21-win season after trading Chris Paul the year before. The roster Davis joined was young, inconsistent, and still being put together. Eric Gordon had struggled with injuries, Ryan Anderson was one of the main scoring options, and the team was still searching for a long-term core. So, when a 19-year-old rookie walked into that situation, the expectation wasn't dominance right away.
When you first come to the league, it's like, hey, look, I'm getting my money. I just want to get bread. I just want to get paid. And then at some point, it switches like, oh, I'm trying to win.
Most elite big men take time. I mean, even Hall of Fame players usually need a few years before the game slows down for them. But Anthony Davis started showing it almost immediately. In his NBA debut against the Spurs, he scored 21 points. A week later, he put up 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 blocks in his first double-double.
Good
Before
performances.
the first month of his career was over, he already had games with 28 points, 16 rebounds, multiple steals, and multiple blocks. The production was there. But what really stood out was how he was doing it. He wasn't just scoring in the post. He was running the floor, finishing lobs, blocking jump shots, switching onto guards, and covering ground defensively in a way most centers couldn't. Even with injuries limiting him to 64 games, Davis finished his rookie year with 13.5 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks per game, made all-rookie first team, and led all rookies in double-doubles.
New Orleans was me, like coming in at 19 and then all the way to 24, 25, I'm like, all I know is New Orleans.
And that was just the starting point. After the 2013 season, the franchise rebranded to the Pelicans, added Drew Holiday in a trade, and made it clear the plan was to build everything around Davis. That's when the jump started.
That makes
because
sense.
In his second season, Davis went from promising to dominant, almost overnight. He opened the year with 20-12, then 26-17, then a game with 25 points, 6 steals, and 6 blocks. An absurd stat line. A few weeks later, he had 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 blocks against the Lakers, becoming the youngest player ever to record 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks in a game. And he just kept getting better. 40 points and 21 rebounds
he
against
was
Boston.
well-rounded.
Yeah, he was playing on both ends of the court.
Damn.
It's because of the pre-growth spurt, he was playing a different position. So he learned that position, became a big man, learned that position, and kind of combined the two, which is very rare,
30-point, 15-rebound, 5-block games. 2 separate games with 8 blocks. And by the end of the season, he led the entire NBA in blocks per game at 2.8 per night. Most shot blocking leaders are veteran centers. Davis was barely old enough to legally drink. And by year 3, he was putting up MVP level numbers. In the 2014-15 season, Davis averaged 24.4 points, 10.2 rebounds, 2.9 blocks, and led the entire league in player efficiency rating.
Ahead of Russell Westbrook.
30.9. And in the final game of the season,
Had a
with
Curry
a
as
playoff
well.
spot on the line, he dropped 31 points and 13 rebounds to beat the defending champion San Antonio Spurs and send New Orleans to the postseason.
We came here tonight and just got it done.
In his first playoff series, Davis went up against the 67-win Warriors, the best team in the league.
I've been to the playoffs twice in New Orleans. Go to the arena, I see the crowd, I'm like, man, this is what it's about.
The Pelicans got swept as Golden State went on to win the NBA
they were too
championship.
good.
But Davis averaged 31.5 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game, as he became the first player in 40 years to average 30 and 10 in his first playoff series, joining names like Wilt, Kareem, and
That's
Shaq.
wild.
That
Wow.
season, AD finished top 5 in MVP voting, top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year voting, made first-team All-NBA, and already established himself as one of the best two-way
And he was
players
so
in the
young.
world. And the scary part was how effortless it looked. By 2015, the league already understood something rare was happening. Anthony Davis was already one of the most dominant defensive players in basketball, one of the most efficient scorers in the league, and one of the few big men who could completely control a game on both ends of the floor.
Wow.
And he was only 3 years into his career. By then, the Pelicans didn't need any more proof. Davis had already become the face of the franchise
What a
and
shot.
the kind of player you pay whatever it takes to keep. So
Yeah.
that summer, New Orleans gave him exactly that.
New Orleans offered me a crazy deal at the time. It's like, it's not even about the money. Like, I genuinely want to win.
On July 9th, 2015,
Did not take
Davis
it.
signed a 5-year, $145 million
Wow, he
contract
deserves it.
extension. In
did
February, he
take
had
it.
one of the greatest games ever by a big man, 59 points and 20 rebounds against
Wow.
the Pistons. It broke the franchise scoring record, made him the youngest player in NBA history with a 59-point game, and put him in a group with only Shaquille O'Neal and Chris Webber as the only players since the 80s with a 50-point, 20-rebound performance.
That's
But
mad.
just as it all seemed to be going perfectly, disaster struck. In March, Davis was ruled out for the rest of the year with a knee injury and a torn labrum in his shoulder.
Oh
An
my
injury he
God.
later said he had been playing with for years. They told me the shoulder surgery eventually has to happen, Davis said. Gradually, it's been getting worse, something we just gotta take care of now. All of a sudden, there were questions about whether we had seen the best of AD, if his prime was now behind him. But when he came back the next year, he didn't just look healthy, he looked unstoppable. In the 2016-17 season,
AD was a beast, like actually a real life beast.
Thing is, we do like AD without knowing all this, but I like him even more
Yeah,
now.
when we learned this, it's like,
Yeah, like I
wow,
rate him more.
That's mad.
Yeah.
alone. Davis had one of the wildest runs any big man has ever had. He opened the season with 50 points, 16 rebounds, 7 steals, 5 assists, and 4 blocks against
50
the Denver
point a
Nuggets.
game, 4
few nights
blocks,
later,
that's
He
wild.
had 45 and 17. Later that year, he dropped 46 points with 21 rebounds. He had a 53-point, 18-rebound game, a 45-point, 17-rebound, 5-block, 5-steal performance, and even
What?
recorded a triple-double with 10 blocks.
Oh
Then in the
my
2017
God.
All-Star Game
Do you know
in
how
New
hard that
Orleans,
is?
on his home floor with the best players in the world on the court, the Brows scored 52 points,
The
breaking
Brows.
Wilt Chamberlain's All-Star Game record. At that point, the conversation around him changed. People weren't just calling him a superstar anymore. They started putting his name next to the best big men of the era: Hakeem, Garnett, Tim Duncan. But as dominant as Anthony Davis was during his New Orleans years, there was always something that kept his prime from feeling complete. The numbers were never the issue. From 2014 to 2019, Davis averaged roughly 27 points, 11 rebounds, and over 2.5 blocks per game, while shooting around 50% from the field. He made 4 All-NBA teams in 5 years, finished top 5 in MVP voting in 2015, and was regularly near the top of the league in PER, win shares, and defensive rating. On paper, that's the resume of a player leading contenders every season. But that was the problem, because when you look at the standings, the Pelicans almost never were.
I want to win. You know,
And he
I
said he
think the
wants to
turning point
win.
was-
The amount of times did he say in this interview just now, like, I want to win. Like,
Yeah.
you know what it is? These all get paid so much. Like you said, at the beginning of your career, you're excited. Oh my God, I've never had this kind of money. Once you get your car, you get your house, you get out of whatever debt you might be in, you sort out your family, you go on a couple of holidays.
Yeah.
It's not about money no more, like he said. It's more about, okay, legacy now.
Yeah.
So he can't do it with the Pelicans from the sounds of it. His numbers are insane and they're not winning.
when I didn't make an all-star starter, when I definitely should have. And it was because the team was losing. It was bad.
That's
From
tough.
2013 to 2019, New Orleans made the playoffs only twice. They finished under 500 in 4 of those 6 seasons. And in the loaded Western Conference, that meant Davis was putting up superstar numbers without the team results people expect from a player that good. Now, part of the problem was the roster constantly changing around him. The Pelicans tried to build a real core. They traded for Drew Holiday to give him an elite two-way guard. They brought in Tyreek Evans to add scoring and playmaking. They drafted Buddy Hield, then moved him in a blockbuster trade for DeMarcus Cousins, creating one of the most talented front courts in the league. For a stretch in 2017, Davis and Cousins were both averaging over 25 points per game. And New Orleans looked like a team that could finally compete in the West. Then Cousins tore his Achilles. That became the pattern of the Pelicans era.
We can't never get AD help. Like, who are these guys we're signing?
Every time it felt like the roster was good enough, something stopped the momentum. And the other issue, the one that followed Davis almost every season, was durability. Davis played like a guard and a center at the same time. He ran the floor, attacked the rim, protected the paint, switched onto guards, and carried a huge usage rate on offense. That kind of workload adds up. Between 2013 and 2019, Davis missed at least 7 games in every season. In fact, he played 70-plus games only twice in his first 7 years. Some seasons it was his shoulder, some seasons it was his knee, back spasms, ankle sprains, hip injuries, finger injuries. Rarely catastrophic, but just enough to break rhythm. And in the Western Conference during the mid-2010s, that mattered more than ever. You were competing with the Spurs, the Thunder, the Rockets, the Clippers, and the Warriors dynasty. But when the Pelicans did reach the playoffs, Davis usually proved he was every bit as good as the stats said. In 2015, his first postseason, he averaged 31.5 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game against Golden State. And New Orleans still got swept. In 2018, when DeMarcus Cousins went down with a torn Achilles, Davis had the best playoff run of his Pelicans career, averaging 30.1 points, 13.4 rebounds, 2.3 blocks, and 2 steals in the postseason. He led the Pelicans to a sweep of the 3-seeded Trailblazers before they ran into the Warriors again in the second round.
Just comes to prove, no matter what numbers you're doing, one man can never make a team.
You know what?
Ever.
I rate him though. He stayed with the Pelicans. He stayed with them, and he's trying to win for them.
But how long is enough? Like, how long can he do it for?
Well, clearly he's on a mission. He's gonna win a championship for them.
Well, let's see. I feel like he's gonna leave at any moment.
By the late 2010s, the conversation around Anthony Davis started to change. Nobody questioned the talent. The question became about impact at the highest level. Could a player this dominant individually carry a franchise deep into the playoffs every year?
I always thought I was going to finish in New Orleans, right? Start in New Orleans, finish in New Orleans, and
respect
never going
for that, though.
And when we just didn't align on our goals as far as winning, it just took a bad turn.
And by the 2018-19 season, the frustration started to show. Davis was having one of the best statistical years of his career, averaging 29.3 points, 13.3 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.7 steals, and 2.6 blocks. And the Pelicans were sitting below 500. So after 7 seasons, 1 playoff series win, and constant resets around him, Anthony Davis made the biggest decision of his career.
He wants to trade now, and the preferred destination is a place that allows him to compete.
Is that when he went Lakers?
Level.
You know, I had to grow up and do what's best for me at the end of the day and let the rest take care of itself.
Davis wanted a chance to win consistently and compete for a championship. Not long after, the Pelicans sent him to the Los Angeles Lakers in one of the biggest deals of the decade.
The Pelicans have agreed to finally trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Now, here's the compensation
what did they
package.
get back?
Everybody's wondering, what would they give up?
There has not been a deal for a single player in this league as steep of a price as LA's paid.
The Lakers gave up Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks, and the number 4 overall pick in the draft just to get AD. And the moment Davis got to Memphis, everything about his role changed. Because for the first time in his career, he wasn't the only superstar. He was now playing with LeBron James.
That was the whole reason. That was the whole goal. Leave New Orleans, get to LA, and by far the best team that I've been on.
Even further, the Lakers added shooters like Danny Green and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Veteran.
Good for him, though. The reason why I feel like it might be linked to so many of his injuries is because he's just pushing himself so much on both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. You will break your body down. Like, I'm very happy for him that he's finally in a position where that workload can be shared with a team. Now, obviously, LeBron, he likes to take on a big workload naturally, but then he's got other great players to share that, you know?
Yeah. And it doesn't devalue him in any way either. It's just a way for him to just rest a little bit. To rest a bit.
He's only human, right? No matter who you are human.
It's like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee to handle the physical matchups inside. Rajon Rondo to run the offense.
Rondo.
And the defensive system under Frank Vogel built around Davis anchoring the paint. So for the first time in his career, Anthony Davis didn't have to do everything. And you could see the difference
that you just said.
In his first season with the Lakers, Davis averaged 26.1 points, 9.3 rebounds, 2.3 blocks, and 1.5 steals per game, while shooting over 50% from the field.
Damn.
He led the team in rebounds, blocks, and steals, finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and was named first-team All-NBA and first-team All-Defense. And the team finally matched his level. The Lakers finished 52-19, the best record in the Western Conference, their first #1 seed in nearly a decade. But the real test wasn't the regular season. Because for all the numbers Davis had put up in his career, his playoff runs had been short. In 2015, he averaged over 30 a game, but got swept by the Warriors. In 2018, he had a dominant series against Portland, but ran into Golden State again in the second round. He had proven he could put up superstar stats, he just hadn't proven it on a championship run yet. Then the season stopped.
This astounding and unprecedented story continues to evolve. NBA is suspending the season.
The COVID shutdown forced the NBA to finish the year inside the Orlando bubble. No crowds, no travel, and every game played in the same empty gym. And for Anthony Davis, it became the biggest stage of his career. The Lakers opened the playoffs against Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers, the hottest team in the bubble. Portland stole Game 1, but Davis answered. Over the next 4 games, he averaged nearly 30 points and 10 rebounds as the Lakers won 4 straight. The second round was supposed to be a problem. The Houston Rockets played small. They had no real center and 5 shooters on the floor. On paper, that kind of lineup should have pulled Davis out of the paint and made him uncomfortable. Instead, it turned into the exact matchup he was built for. He was too quick for Houston's bigs, too strong for their wings, and too long for their guards. He averaged about 25 a game on over 60% shooting, blocked shots, and switched onto James Harden as the Lakers won the series in 5 games. Then came the Western Conference Finals against Denver. The Nuggets had already come back from 2 3-1 deficits. They had Nikola Jokic playing the best basketball of his career, and this series forced the Brow to do everything. Guard Jokic, protect the rim, score inside, score outside. In Game 2, the Lakers found themselves in a tie with seconds left and no timeouts.
So he puts it in. Here's Davis, 4-3.
No way. No way.
He turned, yelled Kobe, and ran down the court while his teammates chased him.
He yelled
Obviously,
Kobe.
We're representing him, said Davis, who scored 10 of his game-high 31 points in the fourth quarter, especially in those jerseys. It's his jersey, one he created, and anytime we put it on, we want to win. In that moment, he didn't look like a traditional big man. He looked like the exact kind of superstar the modern NBA was built for. 7 feet tall, can guard every position, can shoot, can protect the rim, can hit game winners. The Lakers won the series in 5 as AD averaged over 31 points per game in the conference finals. The Lakers reached the finals, going up against LeBron's old team, the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Eric Spoelstra. A team that played hard every possession and never looked scared of the moment. In Game 1, Davis scored 34 without looking rushed once. In Game 2, he controlled the glass and protected the rim. By Game 3, Miami started changing their entire defense just to keep him from getting touches. That's when his impact started showing up in ways that didn't always show in the box score. He switched on to guards late in the shot clock. He erased drives at the rim, and he forced kickouts that turned into bad shots. In fact, when he was on the floor, the Lakers' net rating in the finals was over +25, the best on the team as the Lakers won the series in 6 games. And when the final buzzer sounded, it wasn't Davis's highest scoring season, and it wasn't his flashiest year. but it was the most complete basketball he ever played.
Finally.
Anthony Davis was an NBA champion.
That's all he wanted.
Good for him.
I feel like I've accomplished everything. Why did I come to LA to win a championship? My first year, I get it done. I'm in the corner, I'm crying, and I'm just sitting there just soaking it all in like, man, it really happened. Like, I'm really an NBA champion.
In 2020, he re-signed with the Lakers on a massive 5-year, $190 million deal, locking himself in as the franchise's future next to LeBron.
Ever since holding that trophy, I just want to do it again.
But instead of more dominance, the following years turned into a stretch that defined all the what could have been conversations. The turnaround from the bubble to the 2021 season was one of the shortest off seasons in NBA history, and Davis started dealing with injuries almost immediately. Calf strain, heel soreness, lower leg issues that kept him out for weeks at a time. He missed over half the season, and the Lakers never found the same rhythm they had the year before. Through the first few games of the opening round, Davis looked like the most dominant player on the floor again, controlling the paint, protecting the rim, scoring without forcing anything. Then another injury hit, a groin strain in Game 4 of the series
painful,
stopped
the way it
everything.
landed.
And without him, the Lakers' title defense ended in the first round. After that, the pattern kept repeating.
The issue is, a player like that, when he's off the court, the team will feel it because he's such an impactful main player. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
In 2022, more knee problems, an MCL sprain, an ankle injury later in the season. He played only 40 games that year, the fewest of his career at the time, and the Lakers missed the playoffs entirely, despite him still averaging over 23 points, nearly 10 rebounds, and more than 2 blocks per game. When he was on the floor, he still looked like one of the most complete big men in basketball. And in 2023, there was a stretch where he went on one of the best runs of his career. Back-to-back games with 40-plus, a 55-point, 17-rebound game on over 70% shooting, multiple nights with 30 points and 20 rebounds, games with 5 blocks, 7 blocks, plays all over the floor. At one point, AD became the first player since the 1970s to have a game with 35-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, 5-plus steals, and 5-plus blocks. In the playoffs that year, he reminded everyone again why his peak was so scary. 7 blocks in a playoff game, 30-point, 20-rebound performances, games where the entire defense revolved around it. He even helped push the Lakers all the way back to the Western Conference Finals. But the problem was the same as it had been for years. It never lasted long enough to turn into a full era. Every time the Lakers started to look like contenders again, something interrupted it. And by the mid-2020s, the situation started to feel different. The championship core was gone, the roster kept getting reshaped, and the pressure to win now never really went away. Then
I feel like half of the NBA sport it's like chess. If X gets injured, how do we shape up the team to be the most effective? Do we have a backup for whoever's gonna? Do you know what I mean? They need to. A bench is so important, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's not just your main team. You can have the best main team. One injury is finished. You got to have a good bench with it.
Came one of the most shocking moves of his career. In 2025, Davis was traded to Dallas in a blockbuster deal along with Max Christie and a 2029 first-round pick for superstar Luka Doncic.
Well, I had no idea that I was even traded.
Damn!
Wow. This was happening.
That's a violation.
The trade was labeled as one of the most significant and unexpected in NBA history, marking the first time 2 reigning All-NBA players were traded for each other mid-season. In his Mavericks debut, Davis put up 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 blocks. For a moment, it felt like the same story all over again. New team, new start, same dominant Anthony Davis. Then, almost immediately, another injury. He strained his adductor in that same debut and missed weeks, forcing Dallas to wait again to see what they actually had. When he came back, the flashes were still there. A 34-point, 15-rebound, 5-block game. A triple-double with 23 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, and 7 blocks. He even dropped 40 points in the play-in tournament trying to keep the season alive. But the pattern didn't change. Injuries again.
It's the groin injuries. He keeps getting them.
Another season where the numbers looked elite.
He deserves this name as well, the title. Injury!
Him and Embiid, man. It's so sad. And we're not doing it to mock it. Like, we're just saying that.
I didn't realize he got this injured. Oh my! But it's like he's doing everything. That's why
his body is worn down.
Damn.
But the team never got a full year of that version
That's
of him.
sad.
That summer, he had surgery to repair a detached retina and had to start wearing protective goggles for the rest of his career.
I couldn't do anything for 2.5 months. Like, I couldn't walk, I couldn't lift weights, I couldn't run, I couldn't play basketball, nothing.
That must have been
Even
hard
after
to get
that,
back
the
into
injuries
it.
kept coming. And issues, more missed time, more stretches where teams had to adjust without him. In 2026, he was traded again, this time to Washington, and he's yet to play a single game since his arrival. But when he returns, he may still have nights where he looks like the most dominant big man on the floor. He might still block shots like a Defensive Player of the Year and put up stat lines that nobody else in the league could match. Which leaves the only question that matters. How good was prime Anthony Davis actually? When people look back on his career now, the first thing that gets mentioned isn't the dominance, it's the injuries. And I mean, it's not crazy to say that AD may have the deepest injury bag of all time. Over his career, he's had 51 unique injuries
That's
and
mad.
296 in total. And because of that, it's easy to forget just how ridiculous he was at his best. But if you isolate his prime from roughly 2015 through 2020, Anthony Davis wasn't just an all-star level player. He was one of the best players in the world. During that stretch, he made multiple All-NBA teams, multiple All-Defensive teams, led the league in blocks, finished top 5 in MVP voting, and put up numbers very few big men in modern NBA history have matched. From 2016 to 2018 alone, he averaged about 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game while shooting over 50% from the field. At nearly 7 feet tall, Davis could score like a forward and defend like a center. He could finish lobs, hit mid-range jumpers, score
He was
in
an
the post,
all-rounded player.
run the floor in
He had
transition,
everything.
and still anchor an entire defense. Defensively, he led the league in blocks and finished near the top of Defensive Player of the Year voting multiple times. Somehow never winning, though.
I'm pissed I don't have one for sure, because I know how much, like, I put into the defensive end.
He was the kind of player people compared to Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and the other all-time two-way greats. And when everything came together in 2020, we saw the perfect version of Anthony Davis. That playoff run might have been the best basketball of his career. He averaged about 28 points in the postseason, shot over 50% from the field, hit clutch shots late in the game, and walked away an NBA champion. But when people look back years from now, Anthony Davis will always be remembered the same way. One of the most dominant players of his era, and one of the biggest what could have been careers in NBA history.
Win, lose, or draw, like, to be in that experience and that environment again, like, that's the thing I want most before it's all said and done.
Thank you for watching.
Oh, we did not realize that it was like that for AD. That is so wild. Such a shame as well, because it only looked like his like potential was never ending. It was just straight up injuries that was bringing him down. Sucks.
Imagine, like, if he didn't have all those injuries, his career would have been even further.
It would have just kept going.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like there was no limit to his career the way he was going.